Leona to try and at least get something there.
I think one thing to be said is that because it's a Jhin, you don't really expect a Braum to come through, so they feel more confident to take the Leona in the situation. And you can see T1 are not interested in taking the Braum at all, looking at options for an engaged spot. So it looks like the counter pick's not really going to be utilized in a way that punishes so much this Kai'Sa Leona. Yes, the Jhin will have a pressure advantage in the early laning phase, but this is definitely a playable lane for Dplus. And I think overall, considering T1 started off with a fantastic Azir Pantheon, I think Dplus kind of happy with how things have shaken out. They got a comfort pick for aiming. The comp is very cohesive with these dive threats coming through. The matchup top lane is good for them. So I think they navigate things pretty okay, all things considered.
Yeah, I would actually say that as far as how it shook out in the end, it is actually kind of working. I think the lack of CC is going to be a difficulty here. I think you're like, as far as the top side is concerned, it's like Charm. And there's a lot of iconic ones, but it's just probably the one up the very top. So that's a very, very scary thing. We'll see whether T1 can put their money where their mouth is as we dive onto the Rift for our Saturday Showdown Game 1. That's 100% Pickle Dog for me. As Ona is, speaking of the Pickle Dog, going to come on over and have a look as Lucid's going to find him, dives on in on top, and in fact Ona getting the worst end of this trade, the bleed ticking down as well, as Lucid will push him away. The flash forward? I don't know about that one, but he should be able to follow with that front flip, and Ona is going to read it and flashes over the wall. So flash for flash here between the two junglers, and Lucid saying, get off my lawn.
Yeah, the big thing being at a level 2 Neferi, a lot more power in the kit compared to a level 2 Pantheon. Ona's going to get forced off even harder. This is great for Lucid.
Yep, and Ona does walk his way out, does manage to secure that, I'm pretty sure, as even some caster minions getting involved. Absolutely crazy, but Lucid will be able to turn this into a red steal, and this was Ona going for the invade, so he'd already invested the extra time to get over there, and is not going to be able to find too much forward.
Successful, and he has the prio at his lanes. Lucid,
oh god,
out the game. Oh man.
Oren has just been obliterated by Xiu here, gets the scrap shield, flash forward and lands the harpoon. There's a solo kill, and that is first blood. Man, I'm so used to it being
great value there from the Ahri coming through. We're gonna get a replay of that topside play first. She was close to overheating. Doran goes in to try and clear the wave, and just gets beaten down. See Xiu calling it already. Follows with the flash, gets the harpoon, just beautifully played.
His prize is going to be this blue buff, and that is due to the fact that Showmaker has all of that priority in this mid lane, but bot side priority is also there for T1. So a little bit of an honest engage here as Carrier dives forward. They get on top of Lucid. He's lit on fire. Faker free hitting now with these Sand Soldiers, but it's Carrier that's the one in trouble. And with that Spirit Rush, Showmaker is able to take him down. Beryl now looking for Faker as Lucid in amongst it. Gumayushi the target, but Ona goes down first. And that's another kill, this time going over to aiming. T1 some opportunities to answer back, right? Because DK needs to take risks, they need to do things. And Lucid going to start by taking down these grubs as they spawn. Doran fighting against Xiu. Grand Starfall does come down. Let's see whether the Rumble will survive, and the answer is absolutely he will not. As Lucid just wanting to get that final grub, and he does manage to secure it. So T1 not able to deny the feat. They will be able to deny triple grubs from DK.
So to get a little bit gold back in their favor.
Yeah, and I think getting the Gwen out of the hole is going to be an important one as Beryl comes over and says hi to Faker. Hey man, how you doing? And Faker says, I wanted to go home. Please stop annoying me.
Oh, and also puts the passive on the minions, so Showmaker just kills them with the beautiful... Oh, Carrier?
All right, Carrier could be in a little bit of trouble here.
Something they chase.
Yep, still going to be able to get out as once again, Beryl with another Zenith Blade. Charm going to connect there as well as Faker could be in a little bit of trouble. Orbit Deception comes down. I don't think Faker's dying here. And remember, he really wanted to go home. Yeah. And so it's really not going to do all that much. Any of their blue buffs yet.
Well, they did get that one earlier. I believe it was Ona who smite secured.
Oh, he did.
But they lost the fight as a result.
Oh, so he hasn't had blue buff for very long.
Yeah. Oh, Guma.
Okay. Solar Flare is going to miss the stun, but he's still dead. Lucid comes on over, grabs the kill. Lucid just flipped over the wall, so doesn't have that ability at this point in time. Avoids the Deadly Flourish, though, as he flashes over the wall. Ona goes in, but Beryl is right there already. The curtains are going to get called, as now Lucid still trying to escape. I don't know whether Beryl is going to be quite as lucky, though, as he realizes he has to stick around, and that will spell his death. So down here a little bit. As I say that, they speed back up again. Beryl getting engaged on here. Good crash down as he's just looking to try and escape, and maybe this is why the flash was left off cooldown, as Lucid really wanted to secure his Raptors. He does do so. Cones his way into the pit, and Owner is going to be able to stun him. The front flip gets him over, but that means the Dragon definitely goes into the hands of T1. Equalizer goes down, not really doing too much. So an evening out of the Drakes. And
Iran is low enough where Herald with a bit of damage would be able to take it down.
Yeah, it's a big one. Now Faker actually able to put on a lot of pressure here towards his bottom side, but Showmaker is going to answer that. Spidey sense is tingling there as Faker is going to be
Herald, the mid tower, this won't kill it, but they should be able to finish it off with some mortars, yeah.
Beautifully done. Faker is going to try and return the favor, heading down towards his bottom side. No feats of strength, of course, but first turret blood going over to DK going to be an important one there.
I have to TP out.
Yeah, Faker will set up a turret of his own and will look to take down this wave. And I think maybe he's just dead. He's lost the ability to do the old...
nice.
Okay, gets over the wall. That's very cute. Malignant's on the floor, and they just have to back away.
It was very unforced. You know, I think this was a great outplay by Faker, and that's completely fine. But it's the play afterwards that I'm really
wave once more. And Solarflare going to connect onto Owner. Zenith Blade to try and chain this CC, but the Magnus Storm is good from Carrier. Untargetable is Lucid, but he has to use everything to try and get out, and it does not work. Oh dear. Sometimes Zenith Blade in, and it is just not the right call, as now the Otacon going to get taken, and T1 really getting out to a fantastic lead off the back of just
tower damage here. Oh, she was struggling now.
Yep, Doran in a much better spot as he flashes in and returns the favor. The turret will do a fair bit of damage there, as in fact, yeah, Doran does indeed die. But now we've got another fight breaking out. Beryl, once again, just gonna be dead. Solar Flare looking a little celebratory as it hits absolutely nothing. And T1, they get the better end of it, even though it was
and then I didn't see that he...
All right, Beryl's in again. Lucid is there watching again, and Beryl's dead again.
This is just a never change game, I feel like, for Doran.
Yeah, a turret shot or two. But unfortunately does not happen. Grand Starfall goes down as Shiu is just going to get swept back, and will do a fair bit of damage here to Owner on the outset, as now Gumayushi also in a little bit of trouble. Good cleanse from aiming, but it's not going to be enough. Carrier just being a defender, as Lucid realizing that perhaps he's also overextended, and Beryl's out of the gate once again. Okay, it's time to die once more.
Oh,
as
look at
these
the
health bars, yeah, these health bars are so incredibly low. If Beryl can actually get in there, Solar Flare is back up again, and he throws it down. Not going to find anything, but he's holding them in position. The Eclipse wears off. Beryl is certainly killable, but so are T1 as Doran's teleported in, and oh my goodness, this Gwen is so scary. 15 seconds until Shiu's back up again. And it's a 4v5. In goes Carrier, but doesn't really find the angle, and now Showmaker with all that mobility, looking to see what he can get done. Untargetability good there from Lucid, but Gumayushi, he lands the bullets. Faker goes golden, and DK melts like butter in the microwave. Blood in the water. Just as we can see here, the siege is continuing. The Baron getting to work here. As Equalizer goes down, flash in from Beryl, gets the cleanse out from Gumayushi as Carrier going down lower and lower. The Magnus Storm not going to save him there. There's some untargetability from Lucid, will not save him here either, as it's a 1-for-1 in the end. And now Doran is rotating over. The needlework is so scary as once again he's under the turret. Once again he's dead under the turret. Theoretically fight for it, but I just don't even think that's going to be a worthwhile opportunity. 3 items like you were talking about, a thing to watch out for on aiming, but I feel like it's too little and it's probably too late.
Yeah, the problem is, you know, there's 3 items across the board for T1.
Oh, I'm going to connect there onto Doran, and then Showmaker has to try and find a way out as, oh, the deadly flourish! That was beautiful! From Gumayushi, he has to now walk off the red carpet as Beryl looking for Doran. The Magnus Storm's gorgeous! Carrier sacrifices himself for it though, and now they're looking for even more. Over the wall they go. Doran is so low, Guma's so low, but it doesn't matter because they get a clean.
They hold strong after you know, some troubles, a little bit of troubles in the early game. A very convincing finish out for this game.
Absolutely beautifully done by T1, and it was just the fact that
우연히 다 밀어내면
왜 아리?
공 있어.
나 맞추긴 했거든.
다 되어요.
아리 잡았다.
여기 나쁘지 않은데. 테레토 와다 앞에. 이거 좋다 좋다. 앞라인. 좋다 잘 걸었어. 럼블. 파이터 가져야 돼. 파이터. 좋아. 끝나겠다 이거. 나이스.
나 탑으로 그냥 금방 올게.
And this is a huge test for this team because they haven't necessarily been known for it, especially when things aren't looking good in the DK camp, right? It's getting those spirits back up again that's going to be so important here. She did still do a fair bit of damage, but look at this. The damage spread is so incredibly close
You know,
for T1.
Did get buffed slightly. Not sure it's enough really to feel positive about. And also, Cassante, I feel like even when Cassante was really strong, Talia was one of those champions who actually held him accountable. Talia and Camille, you actually take damage on this champion when you're playing into those two. So a little concerning. And I really hope it's... I mean, Wukong Rakan is a cool combo, but into Talia, into Camille, you only get exploded if you pick Rakan here. So please, I'm hoping it is not the Rakan.
It depends what Beryl's goals are. But the Braum is going to come in, so his goals may not be die over and over again, because if that was his goal, then the Rakan would have been locked in. The MF just going to be picked face up into a Braum. Doesn't necessarily feel fantastic, but the ways this composition can flank on T1's side means that the door value, even if you are just picking MF straight up into it, is still not going to be that high.
Yeah. I mean, also what often happens in pro play is that the Braum is a little bit under-leveled compared to like solo queue. Also, we see a lot of Braums not putting points in their shield. Very important. So if you end up, you know, let's say you have Camille ult aiming and Beryl jumps in front to block, he will just die.
Yes.
He will just die. Because as much as the wall does a lot to stop it, if you're behind...
used to try and keep this Camille down. So Doran actually, I feel, is going to be a bit of a main character moving into this game number 2 as T1 poised for a 2-0 over DK here in our Saturday Showdown. See whether they can do it. Gumayusi's still going to be taking a bit of damage here as Beryl does find that first Winter's Bite. And the second one as well, this time eaten by the cow. As Aiming and Beryl still needing to deal with this wave, Gumayusi doing a good job. Just so there is that. There's the understandable reason as to why he picked it. It's just not sure whether it's exactly the greatest. There's good flash there from Aiming as Beryl also able to get out of the way and puts up the door in a really good spot. And they're even able to turn this. A lot of value from that piercing arrow, but both flashes now on cooldown, and Gumayusi holds on to his. Back up here towards his top side. Pulverize is going to connect there onto Aiming. He's taking a lot of damage. Remember, no flash. Has to cleanse. As Carrier throws down
Another Hex Flash coming in.
Yeah, over the wall goes Carrier. And he's out of turret range. Finds a double Pulverize. Make a Rain comes down as Gumayusi comes on over. The door is set up at first blood. Still goes over to the Misfortune. And Beryl, like you say, didn't have a whole lot of the blue stuff, but is now going to have to deal with another wave as Carrier finds yet another Pulverize. He will die, and Beryl is fine. And Gumayusi decided that he did not want to kill him.
All in Beryl's plan. He's the carry.
Showmaker is coming down towards his bottom side as well. As he realm warps in, he's got a flash.
Kill. He's got cleanse.
Yeah. So Showmaker's still going to flash for it. Throws a Q. Doesn't quite do enough damage.
The case, so, but it would be very that happens all the time in solo queue when you jungle. Like, what sums does bot lane have?
Yeah, no sums, quick. Having 140 ahead of Carrier. As DK thinking about going for a contest, but I don't know about it. As Seismic Shove going wide. Carrier comes in, gets a Pulverize onto Lucid, who does get the decoy off. And now Doran just says, nope, you do not have a jungler. They also take down the Dragon on the back end as Aiming. He is just going to get evicted from this area. No flash, no chance. And Gumayusi even able to walk on over. As T1 looking to take down these grubs at the same time. They will be one objective away from picking up feats of strength in this game if that does in fact come in. Showmaker looking to try and defend as Gumayusi Carrier are set up. Owner is taking the grubs. They're just taking all. And Carrier, I feel like he's everywhere this game. As the Cyclone comes in, can Carrier actually get in there to headbutt Lucid under the turret? And he does, in fact, do so. He flashes away. Realm Warp going to come on through. That gets rid of Beryl. So Beryl lives, and Lucid is very dead. Doran is going to be. As let's see the replay instead.
Yeah, so
Carrier's perspective.
I think it was an ambitious play, even if Carrier wasn't there. But Carrier being there just meant there was no chance of it working. You know,
DK, I don't know whether they'll be able to get in as Shiu's going to move down. Faker's in position though. Shiu desperately trying to get towards his turret. He takes a fair bit of damage, but he is pretty tanky. And he gets over to the other side of the wall. Lucid going in. And Shiu clears out the wave. Yeah, now that he's here, Shiu's like, how do I get down? You know, it's like doing that mountain climbing where you climb up and you're like, wait a second, How am I supposed to figure out my way back? As Showmaker teleports
Save him, just keep top lane. Oh.
Okay, Chains of Corruption going down. Remember, Doran doesn't have the ulti as they get the stun down onto Doran, but he's just quite tanky enough.
Showing that, you know, even plays that make sense start to fail when you're lacking that extra bit of damage.
Well, speaking of an extra bit of damage, I think Faker certainly has it. As the threaded volley is coming down, we're going to stop watching that one as Lucid comes in, and the hook shot is so good from Doran. Bullet time comes down as well. Beryl almost just dead from that one, but they do manage to get the Camille, but at what cost? The answer is everything.
Easy kind of relying on like the Wukong to be engaging, and Lucid is falling further and further behind. Like, look at the health bar of the Wukong compared to Sejuani.
Yeah.
You dive in as this Wukong, you're probably just dead immediately.
Well, Lucid is going to dive in and just flashes away and dies.
Wow.
Like, why? Still, Showmaker and Shiu, they're going to come on over. All Out is going to be used to separate Ona from this fight, but he just gets back towards this collapse onto Showmaker. And Gumayusi, he comes down yet again. They've set the table for it, and they're now looking to grab these kills. Glacial Prison comes on through once more, but Shiu, 3,000 gold is still the lead. Faker's still up here. Should be able to get this.
This is kind of what I was worried about after game one. Game one, Dplus had a lead, had an advantage, managed to push it a little bit, and then they started to flounder and T1 pulled back. This is a game though where T1 are the ones who led the charge, who have the advantage, and it just doesn't even look remotely close.
Nope, I can't play as I say that.
Let's punish Faker in the side lane. That's never failed before. That's always a solid strategy against T1. I'm sure he's all by himself and doesn't have the entirety of the Avengers ready to assemble the second something goes wrong.
The old Avengers or the new ones? Offside, as I've seen fights in this area happen before, as Beryl throws out an ulti for fun. Beryl, yes. Ona swings a flail at him as okay. Aiming going to start this one up. He's already down very low. As the flash forward, can they actually kill Guma? Is the question. The answer so far is no. They take down Beryl finally. They overextend far enough to kill the Misfortune, but now the rest of them are likely to go down. Doran just executes aiming underneath the turret, and Shiu trying to escape. That blast going direction was looking a little dicey, but he gives them the good old thumbs up as he exits. But they didn't need to kill Shiu to feel really good about how this fight goes, as Lucid is just running for the hills in the game. Really nicely done, Beryl. Cute sidestep there from Ona, but still not going to be able to find anything from this play. As DK going to need a bit of a miracle to try and get back into this one. And it feels like T1, they don't give the opportunities, right? Because they're not overextending into vision that they don't have, as the bullet time is so good. Beryl's door does pretty much nothing, and aiming is just shredded. Down goes the Wukong as well, as there is an all out, so they kill Gumayusi one more time. As Showmaker also might be able to get a kill onto Carrier. There is that one. Shiu gets himself out of there, but I don't know whether Showmaker wins this 1v1 against Ona, and he does not. Down goes the Cassante as well, as T1 complete the ace with only the sacrifice of their bottom lane, and you can see Shiu just head in hands. Showmaker not really sure of what to do, and this is looking like that. Maybe Carrier was thinking about, like, he used it as a way to face check safely. And there was no one there, so he didn't need to worry about it, but maybe they didn't have that level of information.
Okay, I thought it was, I think maybe it was, the patch note said, if you like charge into something and it doesn't like hit a tower, it will do the charge anyway, but maybe so far away from a tower, I don't know. But
didn't look great. Still looked like it was a bit of a problematic scenario, as you've got Showmaker moving down towards the bottom side with teleport in hand to get rid of that minion wave. T1 getting to work on the Otacon, and DK have no real right to move up even into their topside jungle. And so this will just be T1's, not a whole lot of answer. As Lucid wanting to trade for an Infernal Drake.
I don't think he gets to make that trade.
Well, I mean, we know that there are a couple towards the top side, but it looks like DK may not have full information. Showmaker coming on over. There's a teleport in from Doran. DK going to have to be swift about this one if they want to lock this down, as they do manage to secure it, get some bounty gold as the Cyclone comes in. Lucid looking for Faker there, but Faker moves out of the way of the Cyclone. Very nicely done. Hextech Ultimatum onto aiming in the back line. What's this Varus ever supposed to do this game? And it is get shoved and then bullet timed to death, as Lucid That was a bit tricky. Gets himself over the wall as Shiu trying to get into that backline. Goes all out and pulls Doran over. But he's so incredibly low. Gumayusi is looking for that kill. And he should be able to get it. Still, actually, Shiu doing some work. But Gumayushi's a raid boss. He is massive. That's another ace for T1. And I don't know whether they'll need that many. They want to kill Gumayusi one more time as the seismic shove is so perfectly placed. Showmaker goes gold and Shiu into that backline. They might be able to kill Gumayusi, but I guarantee they are all dead after that as Ona takes down the Rise. Doran getting on in there. Man, he's doing so much damage. Shiu dashing around, doing cool stuff, but you know what? He's dead. And there is not a whole lot to be said other than that. T1, even though they don't have their 80 carry, they will be able to pick up a Baron. And that is going to be yet another 1 for 5 trade.
And T1 has been so owner-relied, so it's a good omen seeing them win with them on the Sejuani.
Shiu is taking a lot of damage as Doran trying to chase him down. Aiming is going to push him away, but it's not going to stop this inhibitor from going down. DK, it is feeling circular in motion. They are just slowly but surely going down the drain. As Shiu does get his health bar back. Weave as well just to block off Lucid from this fight. Seismic Shove does not connect, but the Hextech Ultimatum goes in. There's another gorgeous bullet time as Gumayusi cuts them down. Kill credit going over to Doran. Sitting on 10 now this game. What a monster. Seismic Shove's gorgeous there from the GOAT. And I think T1 may have just done it far more swiftly than the last time as Carrier does what he likes to do at the end of games, which is die to the Fountain Laser, and that's going to mean that it isn't the classic for this particular game, which is 1 for 5 trades. The Nexus still going to go down though, and T1 looking clean with it here today.
Yeah, and obviously we talked about at the start of the day, Carrier again just those attempts on Guma's life.
Yep. And it was 5 for 1s every single time. It's like Guma dies eventually, but all of DK are the trade.
His double bounce house here was so well played. And the bullet time.
Guma calling for the Penta, and he's like, how did Doran take 2 of my kills while my ult was running? This is rude. So Guma still didn't even know that Doran took 2 of his kills. And Ona definitely does look like he's struggling with something. Looks a little bit sick in his tummy. And so glad that he got through this one as quickly as possible. Had a phenomenal performance. I don't think he died once on his Sejuani. And looked real good while doing it. Doubling the damage as a tank versus this Wukong pick from Lucid doesn't really feel great. But honestly, like, there is not a lot that feels great here on the side of DK.
I mean, it's rough to say because Lucid was such a shining light for this roster. But this was a gigantic jungle gap.
And look, I want to try and mitigate the shade to Lucid just for a second. Ona has kind of made everyone look like that.
Yeah.
Outside of, you know, Peanut and Canyon.
And I'm hyped to see that match again.
Yeah, no, me too. I don't know whether, like, I personally think Canyon and Peanut aren't performing to the same level as Ona at this point in time. And I don't even know whether...
Thank you very much, guys. This is Dear for the POM interview translation. We are here with Doran. On behalf of owner who actually got the POM, but due to health issues, the other Hyunjun, Doran, will be here from the side of T1. Congratulations! You took Dplus Gia down and secured your 4th consecutive win. So if you can get into owner's spirit, let's do this interview. How do you feel? You know, it was a 2-0 victory. Makes me really happy. And owner was the Hyunjun owner was feeling pretty sick, so the other Hyunjun, I am here on behalf of him. Yeah, we heard owner and carrier are both sick, so a lot of fans are concerned about them. How are they feeling? A few of our players are feeling sick, but despite not feeling well, they played so well, so I'm really grateful for them, and I hope that they feel better soon. In game 1, the early game was a bit rough, so what was the game plan to come back?
1세트 때 좀 되게 불리한 상황이 많았는데 그래도
Yeah, there were a lot of moments where we were behind and a lot of dangerous
최선의
moments,
플레이를
but
찾다가 또 좋은
I think all of our players were trying to come up with the best plays that we can do. And I think just being in that right mindset allowed us to come back in the game. And in game 2, T1 took Camille, Sejuani, and Talia topside very quickly. So how did you navigate through the game with this comp?
The
topside 3 champions were drafted because there were really high damage dealers, and I think those were the ones that I think we were just trying to focus on getting picks on the top side, and that was really our main goal. And before the match today, head coach Goma said that he's looking forward to you the most, that you have always been a solid player and that he can feel your form improving recently. So anything you would like to say to your head coach? You know, every time that my head coach actually encourages me, it gives me more energy to play better. So I hope that I can always repay all the anticipation that he has for me and play better in the future. And in the 2509 Ionia patch, there are many changes implemented to the Rift. So, as a top laner, what is the change that you can feel firsthand? I think the elimination of the lane swap. And I think after lane swap has been eliminated, I think there are a lot of different champions that I have to contemplate on playing. And I guess it's just the draft that has changed the most. And your next opponent will be OK Savings Big Brayon. You will get to have a chance at revenge from round 1. And so, how do you feel about round 2? I think round 2 will go a lot better than before, and I hope that we play well. And what are your goals for the match against OK Savings Bank Brayon? Yeah, back in round 1, we lost against OK Savings Bank Brayon, which made me really upset, but we want to make sure that we prepare even harder to ensure that we win this time around. And last time on this interview stage, Owner did the 3 hearts. So since you are here on behalf of Owner, are you able to show us the 3 hearts?
자, 오늘의 승리를 기념하면서 시원하게 세레머니 한번
To
부탁드리겠습니다.
commemorate today's victory, let's go ahead and show us the hearts. 1, 2, 3.
승리 진심으로
Thank you very much.
오늘 이렇게 인터뷰에
Congratulations once again.
다시 한번 큰 박수 부탁드립니다.
감사합니다.
And please give it up for Doran. And that's the end of the interview with Doran, and back to the space. Thank you.